this fancy topic today, unlocking competitive edge through AI and Sitecore personalized and CDP. Now, this title came from ChatGPT, so that's why it looks so fancy. Well, that's not. Now, my name is Boris Brodsky. I've been with Avanade for 8 years. I've been Sitecore MVP 5 times. I've been doing Sitecore for 12 years, and now I'm doing new Sitecore for 1 year. So, what I've done before, I guess, is irrelevant now. Thank you, Sitecore.
Edit that.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about my favorite topic as of, I guess, 6 months ago, thanks to ChatGPT thing. So we all love AI now. Every client I talk to now, they want AI. I mean, they don't know what it is for or like how they're going to use it, but they want it. So here we are. So ChatGPT and personalized. How to use it, explicit, implicit, data analytics, powerful, and the most important part is modern data architecture to support AI. You might not need it today, but we're going to need it tomorrow for sure. So how to get started. And Sitecore have enabled that for us, so that's really good stuff. Now, we all know what Gen AI is. It's not about getting things that already exist, it's inventing things, creating new things from nothing. And that's what AI is good at. It became possible due to this research that Google engineers or Google scientists and someone in Canada, sorry, they've actually created this model, they call it transformer, and they published a paper back in 2017 that described like how this process works, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just I have a YouTube link. I mean, Google it. This is the core on what made this entire thing possible. Now, ChatGPT is type of Gen AI, and it's based on transformer model. So why now? And the answer is very simple. It's easy. We can get AI, powerful AI, in no-code way. We don't need data scientists, and we can get started with it right away. And I mean, it is truly like a catalyst, right? We can get started with AI, and we can see how it works for us, and really what it is, it's really democratizing AI for all of us. And if you look at conventional AI, which existed for a long time, it required really complexity to train, required data scientists, and required really quite a few things that only big organizations had. Now, on the right side, Gen AI can go as simple or as complex as we want. We can go by using pre-trained model, or we can actually train model for our purposes. And so, since Avanade is kind of like aligned with Microsoft stack, so you'll see a lot of Microsoft technologies here, but what you see here can be done in any other cloud. Now, strangely enough, Google, they were first, but Microsoft really made money on this, so great for them. But now, nevertheless, if you look at this portfolio of AI on Microsoft side, it's amazing. There are so many tools, and they all integrated as far as security and as far as like integration. So now we have OpenAI on the right side, and that is designed it's not designed for users, it's designed for actually developers. So if you look, this new tool, Azure OpenAI, as of 2 days ago in public preview, and this new tool it allows you to use ChatGPT, but you can also fine-tune that model that you get. So you can create new experiences there. And this tool is built based on responsible AI principles. And as far as security and compliance, it's typical Azure stuff. So it's HIPAA compliant and the other compliances too, and it's integrated into role-based access control. So you can use it now, and it's secure, and it's available as of a few days ago. Now, none of that is useful unless we can actually take that AI content and somehow glue it and present it to the end user. And this is where Sitecore CDP and personalized comes to place. Now, I would like to apologize that Smart Hub CDP is no longer the thing. So I think Sitecore is rebranding from what I've heard. It's going to be something else. So there is Sitecore Personalized, Sitecore CDP, and Sitecore CDP and Personalized. 3 tools in one. Now, Sitecore Personalized is the base, tool designed to really handle implicit personalization or behavioral personalization, where Sitecore CDP and personalized can do both behavioral and more advanced type of personalization where you have user context. So why Sitecore CDP for personalization? So now, first, ChatGPT is pre-trained, so we get functionality we need. ChatGPT can generate responses very quickly. It's extremely performant, as you're going to see in a demo in a few. And Sitecore CDP personalized and ChatGPT has ability to deliver recommendations based on user interactions in real time. So this is the holy grail of personalization. User does things. We don't even need to create persona anymore. All days, we would create a persona. We would spend time analyzing who that persona is. Nowadays, we can just let AI choose things for us. And it supports dynamic translation to many languages. This is not our grandfather translation from 4 years ago. This is real translation, that good quality translation. And it can be integrated in low code. Actually, it can be integrated in no code way into Sitecore personalized. There's no code needed. Now, this is the base configuration. Sitecore personalized, behavioral personalization. This is a three-step process. Connect, create decision model, and present through experiences of experiments. Again, this is a one-of-a-time opportunity right now where you can actually run experiments on your AI. And so I'm a little bit embarrassed because this implementation is so trivial that there's pretty much really nothing to show here, because this configuration is truly connection. So connect, right? So we have the Stream API, which is a JavaScript that we drop on our site. It's like Google Analytics, right? A small script that goes somewhere in the body of the page. And then we create two connections. We create connections, as you see in this image. It's just a few clicks. We go to Sitecore connections, the developer section connections, and then we create two connections. One for OpenAI, and second one is for dynamic content. Now, dynamic content sounds fancy, but it's essentially my prompts. And we're going to hear prompts a lot. This new ChatGPT thing is all about prompts. We create communication. It's a language how we connect with ChatGPT. So now, the prompts are, I keep them outside of Sitecore decision model because they need to be changed all the time. As AI matures and learns, the prompts will need to be changed. And so prompt engineering will be the next big thing, where you constantly need to adjust the way you ask ChatGPT for things. So, and the second one we do integrate. So here, this is our kind of brain, all done within Sitecore personalized. There's no really complexity here. This is like 10-line script. And in this case, the script is for use case where I have my blog site. And I have different categories. I have Azure category and site category. When users come to my site and they look through Sitecore pages, I want to suggest a next Sitecore article that they might enjoy reading. And the same for Azure readers. So here, the goal is to capture page visits and then ship them over to ChatGPT along with all pages on my site and let ChatGPT choose based on user visits, what they might like next. So first step is for Sitecore, personalized, to tell ChatGPT which pages I visit. And second part is to construct prompt and ask ChatGPT for things. So in this case, I'm saying, ChatGPT, this is my website map, and here are my pages. I visited these pages based on the code above. And then I say, select one page from sitemap that matches my interests. Format as JSON with two strings properties, next and insights. That's really all. And the final step is to present this to the user. And as you can see, Sitecore personalized does it really natively. I don't really need to do much. I just say, next is the URL that I get from ChatGPT, and insights is essentially what ChatGPT thinks about that next page. And ChatGPT actually goes to that page, looks through it, and does a summary of that page. So, how can I quick that? So this is my site, and I already did some recommendations. So you see, according to ChatGPT, you might be interested in this page, and this is, and then it tells you what this page is all about. So I can go to the next page.
It's right here. The B crossing identity. The B crossing.
And we can come back to, I guess, it later. But the idea is that it's going to be
On his phone.
So Lisa, can you write your MVP papers with ChatGPT?
The thought has crossed
My kid showed me on his phone how he could write English or write papers. I was like, that's
Yes.
nice.
It can produce novel content, so there we go.
It changes all things.
And so it'll continue to produce recommendations here, but what's important here is, now if you want to translate it to, like for example, Spanish, the translation, I don't know if anyone speaks Spanish here. I have other two languages that I can pull in, like Russian or Hebrew, but I don't know if anyone speaks one of those two. So Spanish is probably the best option. And so the translations are amazing. They're just not your typical translation that we used to see from before. They're actually good translations, which means that, see, like here, the translation happened in real time. So a few things happened here in real time. First, recommendation have been calculated on fly by ChatGPT. Second, the ChatGPT summarized the next page right there in real time. And third, it translated it to any language pretty much in the world. And that all happened in real time. So that is truly, and Sitecore Personalize is the conduit. So if you want to start with something like this today, you can go ahead and in 30 minutes you will have recommendations created for your user right there through Sitecore Personalize. That's how easy it is. Okay. Obviously, this is the basic use case for Sitecore Personalize. We don't know who the user is, and we don't really know much about the user. But now we have more things here. So we have Sitecore CDP and Personalize. That is an ultimate use case. Here we have actually a CDP data. We have context about user. So we can still do this implicit personalization, but we can also do explicit personalization, like declarative personalization. And here we have a lot more options. So we have batch process, we have batch API for inbound, and we have data lake export service for outbound. And we have REST API and Steam API for real-time integration. Now, REST API is what we're going to use. Now, Sitecore Connect is there too, but Sitecore Connect is still being developed, so we really can't use it. But once it's done, it's based on Workato. It's a great product, so I think once it's done, it's going to be another option to integrate Sitecore with whatever system we use. So now, there are real-time implementation is the most typical implementation. This is where essentially we take Sitecore CDP Personalize and we connect it directly to ChatGPT. We get all the data from other sources into Sitecore CDP Personalize. This becomes a source of truth for all our data. No complexities here. It's very limited use case though, because we can't really do things like we can do here. So this is the ultimate implementation that I think we should go for whenever possible. This comes with higher price tag, but this is truly low. This implementation would enable AI and other capabilities long term. So the idea here is Sitecore CDP Personalize is your CDP personalization source. It can still be a source of truth for our data. But then we build customer data lake. And this customer data lake then is integrated with other sources. So for example, in this case, we can have ChatGPT, we can integrate with other AI models, Power BI, email, Teams, whatever. So this is truly the ultimate way to integrate Sitecore CDP and personalize for if you want to do deeper AI analysis. And obviously incomposable data is the key, so we have to look at data differently. As we used to develop old Sitecore, legacy Sitecore, I shouldn't call legacy. We used monolith Sitecore, we needed to worry about application architecture. Now we have to worry about data architecture. Data architecture is more complex now. We have different data types. We have historical data, operational data. We have different data consumers like analytics, applications. And essentially, when we deal with composable architecture specifically, we need to start thinking about modern data architecture. And that's really where that's my message, is to start thinking about modern data architecture now, because it'll save you time overall and money over a longer time. So now, data mesh is one example of such architecture. I listed data mesh. There are other systems, other architectures that as useful as this one. What's interesting about this one is it's been defined back in 2019. So all these architectures are relatively new, but they all have principle of self-service data platform, domain-oriented design. Data is a product, extremely important, and data governance, where we need to know who has access to our data, and we need to be able to control all of these things. Now, this is an example of how you do it. Still have time. So the best way to do it is in, obviously, Azure. And we have data sources. Sitecore CDP could be one data source. And then we have ingest process. Ingest can be Workato or Azure Synapse, like in this case, then data stored in data lake. And from there, depends on the complexity, we can go with Synapse, we can go with SQL serverless or dedicated pool, so we can go with Spark for when we have massive amount of data. But outcome of that becomes a product which then can be consumed by devices, apps, and people. And all of that is monitored and governed by Azure Purview, which makes this really the data mesh solution in one place. Now, that was actually today, but I guess today is this new thing now. So, just last week, 2 weeks ago, Microsoft announced Microsoft Fabric, which is a brand new tool. It's going to replace supposedly Azure Synapse. Oh my God, things move fast. And this tool is, they say, it's like OneDrive for your data. And it is, they call it one lake. What's good about this tool is that you don't need to move data from one cloud to another anymore. You have your data in one place, and then you create pointers to your data in other clouds. And why it's important? Because Sitecore CDP is in AWS on S3 buckets. So you don't now need to move that data to Azure anymore. You can just create a pointer to the data. And now you have all your tools, this data engineering, data science, machine learning, data visualization, all in one place. So this tool is available in preview, but I think it's one of the things, if you're looking at the data architecture, I think this is the tool to look for. And this is an example of how you can start building this stuff. So let's say you have old, again I say old, you have XP platform, and you want to move to Sitecore personalized CDP. So what you can do is you can build codeless pipeline to move your data to data lake. No code required. Really, 10, 15 steps in Azure Synapse and you're done. And from there you build two integrations, one to push data to Sitecore CDP and another one to pull data from Sitecore CDP back to data lake. And then you can do all this modern stuff, integrate with any other system you have, and that's truly all done in a low code or no code way. And so we're going to go quickly look at how to do analytics on top of that. So if you went ahead and built this data lake and you have more advanced functionality like this, now you can actually start analyzing your data using actually AI. And when I say analyzing data, what I'm talking about here is conversational analytics. So you can ask questions from your data. You can say, hey, create an analytics report, find insights, provide recommendations. So you, in Teams, you can go ahead, start asking questions about your website performance, and then you can start asking follow-up questions. Because what happens on the background, we essentially pass this information to ChatGPT, and we along with this prompt, and then we get response back, and then we have the context from before, and we continue to ask questions. So this is a very useful tool as well. And obviously, there are a lot of limitations that we need to think about. So for example, ChatGPT 3.5 supports up to 4,000 tokens, and ChatGPT 4 up to 32,000 tokens. Now, token is not, it's a weird thing. It's not a word. It can be a letter or it can be a word. So it's very hard to really figure out what that is. But there's definitely limitation of how much you can ingest into ChatGPT. Second one is responses are not consistent, never consistent. They evolve over time. Within 15 minutes, you might get 5 different type of responses. So we need to watch for what we get back. Maybe additional validation is needed. But it's one of the things that we need to watch for. Definitely there is a cost. It might cost a lot, but for my site, I've seen it to be very affordable. Like with volume, obviously it goes up in price, but it's not awfully expensive. And there are obviously some legal issues for some clients who are not able to run this. So that's all I have. Any questions?
105. You know.
Is the answer going to be AI generated?
So let me start that.
Yeah, I think the question came out also before about, what about security of the data and, privacy and that sort of stuff. Is there tools in place that allow you to prevent certain data from showing up?
Yes, yes. Now first, the model can be tuned. So you can extend the model for your own reasons, for your own purposes. Second, it is Azure OpenAI. This is not ChatGPT. So this is Azure OpenAI that has ChatGPT as a model. So whatever level of security you get from Azure, you have it here. Well, at least that's what Microsoft is saying. So it's as secure as any other service that you get from Azure.
Is there, you mentioned about having data stores in AWS and how they're exposed or pointing at it, and all things. Are there performance hits when you cross boundaries?
I'm sure, yeah. But the thing there is, latency is really the key. But at the same time, the way first we don't know how they're gonna do it. I mean, I haven't seen it in functional yet. I'm sure there will be fast connection between all these main providers. So there will be probably performance hit, but the way they operate is different. You don't necessarily need performance for this to work. So what you do is, if you, for example, going to run Spark, right, for Spark cluster, it's going to download this data locally and then run with it. So they're going to build some additional functionality to make it more performant, but absolutely, this latency is the key that we need to consider when we build all of this. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a factor. Any questions?
Maybe this is more of a question for Sitecore, but is there plans to standardize some of the componentry into Azure versus across AWS and Azure?
No.
So what's there is probably going to be.
Yeah, I mean, what he was talking about there is actually kind of what we are hoping most people adopt. CDP is never, it's a great question, by the way. We get it a lot. It's never going to be in Azure, like the CDP. It's based on AWS. It's always going to be based on AWS. So the fact that you can now kind of point to it has always been the long-term strategy for the architecture.
And we found that the way this package business capability works in general, really that's not a problem. We have APIs, so you can connect. I've done this with Synapse where I actually do pull data in, and it's absolutely performant. I've never seen any hits on that front. So even today, you can build this architecture. You can build data analytics in Azure, and you're not going to see any performance concerns there. Yeah. Thank you.